Mr. Gheorghiu, you here in this game you met one of your idol, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, Keres. Keres was a legendary player, of course. He was one of the strongest players in this time in the world. He was not world champion, but he was considered always as one of the first three, four in the world. In any time against everyone. Against Bodvinik, against Bronstein, Smyslov, and so on. I mean, he played always for
for
the
a win.
Soviet the team. They won a lot of Olympics and so on. And well, it was also technical problem because he was Estonian, and during the war he had to stay home, and uh, uh,
During the World War II, you mean,
the
or
what? Yeah, and the Nazis in Estonia, he had to play some championships, and the Soviets didn't like it, and so on. It was very complicated political situation, and so on. And finally, he was lucky enough that nothing really bad happened, and he
in,
could play later on for the Olympic team, and that probably was due to Bodvinik, that he was very strong politically and so on, and because of this, Keres could have a safe position, let's say. But anyway, coming back to chess, Keres was a fantastic player, and it was our first meeting during my first Olympic Games in Varna in 1962. The same Olympiad where we showed the game between Fischer and Bodvinik.
yes, and here was
Here it
also
was
important
very.
for you because if you
If I
draw this,
make draw,
yes,
then I could have my first norm for international master. I wasn't still in international master. It was my first Olympiad, and I had to prove against him that I could draw the game. It was very difficult, of course. Yeah.
okay, let's see. So you played
I
with
played with
black.
black, yes. D4, knight f6, knight f3, g6, bishop f4. This is a quite unusual form against King's Indian, but it's not so easy to play. White tries to have a very small advantage and do something against your, safe position. Black has no weaknesses here. C5 is a little bit ambitious, but you have to do something quickly to have, some counter chance. I mean, you have to try to do something yourself against the white position.
So here you sacrifice a pawn
No,
or no?
if he takes in c5 after queen a6 or knight a6, you take back the pawn and nothing happens. C3, he has two possibilities to play c3 or e3. But in both cases, if black plays all right, the game is more or less even. Take in d4, takes in d4, castle, yeah, e3. And now you have to take a decision. You play with the pawn in d6 or in d5. If you play in d5, white has still the possibility to have the e5 square. And that maybe gives a small edge for white. Knight c6, h3. And now you take the decision. You play d6. If you play d6, now the bishop from f4 is a little bit close. He doesn't have the diagonal, open diagonal, and therefore black has more or less a good game. Let's say, after the opening, immediately after the opening, but it's not so clear. We have to play. Bishop c4, bishop f5, castle, rook c8, queen e2. Everybody plays normally. Queen, knight a5 is a good move, of course. Now you have to play bishop d3, no? And if you take to d3, finally it seems that black has no problem at all. Black has already a very good game. Takes, queen b6, yeah, and now knight d5, yes.
So it seems like
It
it looks
seems black has a very good game, of course. Maybe it's even a little bit better, but it's not very clear. Bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, rook e8. You have to be careful about the e7 pawn. You can't move immediately the knight from d5, because later on you can somehow have some problems with the e7 pawn, you know. You have to be careful. Yeah. a3 is a very good move, because now after rook e8, it was already the idea to play knight b4 yourself, and then black is coming. Black is a little bit better after knight b4. But after a3, you have to go back with your PC somehow, because white is already threatening b4 with advantage, you know. Queen c7. Now if white plays immediately b4, you have time to play knight c4, and then it's all right. Knight, b4, knight c4, rook fc1, and then b5, and this is okay.
The knight will
Yes.
remain there.
Yeah. Queen b5, this is very good move, queen b5. Knight f6, and it seems that white has something, that white is a little bit better, you know. Takes, and now a6, this is a very strong move. After a6, it is important because you have one tempo more for defense, you'll see in the game. Why is so important? Now the queen has to move a little bit back, you know, knight b4, now you take, and rook c1, yeah. It's better knight c6 than take the two rooks and play later with two rooks for black against queen, because somehow you lose a pawn in b7 and then you lose the game. Yeah. You have to play very carefully with black and try to trade everything on the c file. If you can succeed in, you know, in trading all pieces on the c file, then the game is drawish, is even, you know. But you have to play very well with black in defense, you know. It's a little bit complicated, but not too complicated. White is a little bit better, you know. Very small edge.
So here, if you keep
You
the
have to go
balance,
back.
should be draw.
Yeah, but you have to play very well, you know.
Yeah.
And you don't forget that I was myself very young and without too much experience. And Keres was one of the best players in the world, and a lot of experience, and a legendary player, you know. That was some difference between us, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. 94. Now you have to play very well with black, you know. Queen b6. It seems still that you have some small problems, you know. Yeah. Yeah. For instance, even here you can lose very quickly if you play the queen. If you play queen a7 or queen c7, you are already lost with black. No.
If you change the queens?
Yeah, you can't change the queens. This is the problem. If you play queen a7,
yes,
you have this move, very unpleasant surprise, rook takes c6, and you lose a piece. And if you play queen c7, you takes in c7, rook takes c7, d5, and you lose again a piece.
A d5, yes.
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 So here you have to find a good move, and the good move is knight a7. Yes. Therefore, you see, the move a6 was very important because of this maneuver, you know. You have the possibility to move the knight on a7. But this is possible.
Open the space
Yes,
for the
right,
knight.
right.
Yes.
Yes.
To maneuver the knight and permit to exchange the
Now
some
you
pieces.
want to change the pieces, every piece, you know, on the c file, if possible, of course. Yeah. Rook c6, against very good move. Much stronger than rook takes c1, rook takes c1, and now you have to do something. And if you play, for instance, rook c8 to trade the other rooks, you know, I mean, he can take it. He can take it in c8. You have to take only with the c, with the knight from a7, because if you take with the queen, you lose the knight from a7.
Yes.
And after knight takes c8, after queen d8 check, you are lost again. You see what I told you? Yeah. Yeah. He took in c6. He takes with the knight. Now rook takes. And now you have time to come back with the other rook. And then now here is all right. Knight b3. If he played here, if he played d5 instead of knight b3, you have time to play knight d8, and you protect everything with the knight in d8. See? The rook is protected, the pawn from b7 is protected, and the game is even. You know. This is the idea. The good defense for black. Takes. 95. It seems again that white is better, again.
Yeah,
But
there are less pieces now.
yeah, but now black has a good possibility to come finally with his king, and that is good enough, King f8. He tries to come until d7 and then plays finally queen c7 and then is drawish, He can trade queens and then is enough for draw, Yeah. Knight c3, queen e8, a4, queen d7. Okay.
Oh, three moves in a row only with the king.
Yes, but it was good enough. Yeah. A6. And here, finally, okay, the game is even. A little bit better for white, but not enough. Yeah. And here we had the surprise move from Grandmaster Keres. I mean, it was a little bit unexpected because in our game in our match against the Soviets, our team, surprisingly enough, was leading. I mean, we won a game and one draw. And
So
everybody
1.5 against
against
0.5.
against half point against
Yes.
the Russians were still losing, somehow. 2 games left, Keres with myself, and the last game, Ginsberger for us against Tal. Tal was better, but not winning enough.
Tal or
Yeah.
Korchnoi, I think.
No, Tal was playing. I realized later on, yes. Well, fantastic team, I mean, Spassky was playing, Geller was playing, Tal and Keres. Such a team, you can imagine.
Yes.
And our team was clearly not so strong, of course. But it was okay. It happens somehow,